Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the SLCP meetup. We appreciate you for joining us today. Our topic is focused on energy use in libraries. The topic that touches on everything from your electricity costs and to comfort for your staff and patrons, whether it's making heating and cooling systems more efficient, reducing lighting and technology usage, or exploring renewable energy solutions. There can be challenges and opportunities that come with it. Um, but just by taking a look at your building's energy use, you can, find different opportunities for change. In this, the energy section of the action item form, members are asked to gather data on their energy use and kind of consider practical strategies for reducing it, across lighting, HVAC, technology, and your appliances. So we're excited to talk about energy and hear from hear your experiences and share questions and ideas as we talk about the energy section of the action item form. So today we have a guest speaker, Kelly Lau, the sustainability coordinator from Surrey Libraries in British Columbia, Canada. Hopefully I got that correct. Um, has joined us. Surrey Libraries recently, completed the certification program. So congratulations, Kelly. You guys did an excellent job. Congratulations on being our newest certified sustainable library. And welcome to the meetup. We're interested to hear about your experiences working through the energy section. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has about this section. It probably wasn't the easiest for us to complete. It definitely took a while for us to get all that data. But yeah, happy to go through any action items if anyone has any specific questions.
I will say you did a lot of and I don't know if many libraries are in the similar situation, but you were able to kind of work with the city, correct? With most of throughout the process, and how was that? What was that like? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Surrey Libraries is part of the city of Surrey. So we're technically considered a department under the city of Surrey municipality. We were very fortunate that we could reach out to departments there to get the data that we needed. Um, some of the challenges with that were capacity. As you can imagine, everyone is extremely busy. um, I want to say corporate bureaucracy is also an issue, right? When you're working with the city as well. So that for us mainly meant it could take a while, before, you ask one person and then that person either doesn't know, so they have to refer your question to another staff member. And, it can take a while. Um, but once we did have that data, it was pretty seamless going forward. It just takes a lot of persistence sometimes. And just being, open about what your goal is, right? Like we would say, we're working on a sustainable library certification and using that to, leverage what we were trying to get. Because, a lot of people in the city were very interested in sustainability. And when they found out that we were working on a certification, they were more, definitely more interested, more willing to help us get that information that we needed.
That's that's excellent. That's interesting, and I wonder if others are kind of going through the same situation. Um, what about the first couple action items deal with the like electricity consumption and emissions and your building fuel uh, consumption and emissions and investigating the equivalents. how did you find that experience? Can you share a little bit about that, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna, I've got my action form open right now. I'm just gonna take a look at those
Sure.
action
Yeah.
items. Yeah, I would say once we got that data, it was pretty easy to plug into the emissions calculator. For action item E for the building fuel emissions equivalents, we did go with a Canadian calculator instead. So we used the greenhouse gas equivalencies calculator from Natural Resources Canada. Um, yeah, just to convert them into uh, the equivalencies that we would use in Canada. Um, Other than that, I'm looking at the other action items right now. Some of these action items were, I would say they were more pertinent to individual branches and individual staff. We actually did a branch inventory where we sent around a spreadsheet to each branch and asked them to, for example, like look at if your branch has lights that automatically turn off when you leave the room, or count how many workstations are using task lighting. Um, Look at your lights. Um, Check out how many appliances you have that are Energy Star certified. Um, Look at your refrigerators and your freezers. Are they set to the optimal temperature? Things like that. And based on that information that we collected, we were able to make the changes that we needed to complete these action items.
And I have to say, we're definitely very fortunate. You mentioned in E4 using a like a Canadian equivalent calculator to determine the emissions and everything. And we're definitely fortunate that you went through that process. As the SLI continues to grow and we get more members in Canada and other countries, it's really excellent, to have, an example of, what to how other, countries, other, outside of the US are able to kind of translate the work, to make it a more universal process. So we're very fortunate for you, you guys for doing that. That's excellent. Did you do any did you have to do any like conversion to LEDs throughout the process, or was that something that you did like within the last couple years?
Mhm.
ha-
Yeah. So well, actually, I want to say all of our newer branches, so probably branches that were built within the last, I want to say 10 years, are equipped with LED lighting. The older branches, that's going to be an ongoing project that we have to work with our facilities department to replace. It's going to be quite costly, so we're going to be investigating funding options for those projects. We do have one open project right now that will hopefully start in a couple of weeks to replace all the lighting at one of our smaller branches to LED or energy efficient equivalents. So yeah, that's one small step forward in a larger pool of projects.
I should have asked this at the top, but how can you give us a little picture of how big your system is, or and how many
Yeah.
buildings are encompassed in that?
Hmm. Yeah. So we are a pretty sizable, I want to say medium large municipality with very large urban sprawl. We've got 10 branches. Some of them, I want to say like maybe two of them are kind of like local community, smaller branches, and the rest are fairly big. We do have one big central branch in the north of our city. But yeah, we have a lot of sprawl and there are a lot of branches, a lot of staff. So yeah.
Thank you. Another action item, E17, the staff equipment shutdown. Um, I thought that was pretty an interesting response that you guys came up that you responded with. Um, talking about should you turn off your computer and monitor at the end of the day? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for us, the city IT department monitors or at least makes the policies that govern how we use our technology. So for City of Surrey workers, we are asked to keep our monitors, printers, etc. on overnight. And that's because important updates are made by the IT department then. Um, that being said, we we were told by the city that they do procure technology that is considered the most energy efficient. So for example, they also, I forget, they have a very specific certification. We use Dell computers, and Dell has a very specific environmental certification that they use to produce and manufacture their technology. So the city invests in Dell, and then they also generate carbon credit offsets. Um, so I'm just looking at my action item, what I said here. The city has also generated carbon credit offsets worth at least 600 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. Since the entire computer and monitor fleet is estimated to generate about 350 metric tons of CO2 per year, the net result is better than carbon neutral. So yeah, the city does make investments and efforts into greening their technology.
Excellent. That's all. Another topic that I think comes up. It certainly has, for us here at the Suffolk Cooperative Library System, is the personal appliances. And I'm sure when other libraries can relate to this. People having their either coffee makers, their Keurig machines or small refrigerators in different offices rather than having a centrally located refrigerator that everyone shares, whether it's one or two, one in the front of the building, in the back of the building. That's kind of what we did here. Was that something that you guys dealt with at all, like getting rid of personal appliances, space heaters maybe? Did you experience anything like that?
I want to say mostly no, because at all of our branches, all of our staff areas have like a centralized kitchen.
Yes.
So everyone uses all the appliances there. When we did our branch inventory, I don't think anyone counted anyone that had like own personal appliance in their workspace. As for space heaters, yes, that is an issue at some of our branches because some of our branches have very drafty service desks because they are located kind of close to the entrance to the library. So in the
Yeah.
wintertime, it does get quite drafty and they do have to rely on space heaters, despite us trying to discourage the use due to the electrical load. But yeah, that's kind of I would say it's a very small issue in the grand scheme of things.
That's good. Was in this section specifically, what do you think was like the maybe the most difficult action items or item to tackle, and maybe what do you think was the easiest in general?
I want to say probably the probably E1 to E4
Mm,
because to get those emission equivalents, you have to get the data first. And
yeah.
that for us took, probably several months just to get um someone from city to, you know, get that. Um, so yeah, that was left pending for us for several months until we got that information. But other than that, the rest of I would say the rest of the section was fairly easy to do,
Mm,
because it is just kind of going around looking at your branches and how they're managed in terms of energy usage. So it wasn't that difficult once we overcame that initial hurdle of getting the emissions data.
yeah, the energy section, it kind of hits you up front with those
Yeah,
first four. And there are like it is a big section too.
yeah.
There's like 37 action items in total. Minimum of 7 required recommended action items, which is good. But yeah, for sure, it looks like it's a lot to tackle, but I think you made a really good point there. That those first four, gathering the data and putting all that in, um, is probably the toughest hurdle, with regards to the section. The rest of them are kind of just like you said, kind of going around and just looking, taking inventory of things. I don't want to hog up the time here, so if anybody has questions for Kelly, or anything that we talked about, or anything in general, maybe that you're working on in this section, feel free to unmute or drop a question in the chat. We'll share it. We'll open it up to questions, comments, other concerns maybe. Diana gave you a great work, Kelly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Diana.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Diana. So if nobody has any other questions or comments for Kelly, thank you for sharing. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for sharing and being open to be with us this afternoon and share about your experience. We appreciate that. Again, we're gonna open it up to, if we don't have to just chat about the energy section. If anybody's working on a different section that they have questions about, we can certainly discuss that today. If there's something you're stuck on, we're all here to help. So, we'll feel free to ask away. I'm going to just mention something in regards to the emissions, and the consumption, collecting that data. So the SLI, we've been, you've probably seen. I'm going to just share my screen real quick. If I can. Where is it? Sorry, folks. Just give me a second. Okay, so in the resources section, as we were talking about the emissions calculator and equivalents. So just taking a quick look at that. This is something, a project that we've been working on here. The SLI team is collecting the data that you all are submitting for those action items. Particularly in section A, and also in section E. Inputting your usage. So obviously, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, you have your we have your instructions for how to use the CO2 emissions calculator. You would input your usage, and you'll get it'll convert to the metric tons of the CO2 emissions. And then down here, the second part of the form is kind of where we're collecting the data. So I just wanted to throw a little plug out there and kind of encourage you all to use this, so we here at SLI can continue to collect this data and put together energy consumption reports that can be used, to kind of show the emissions over time. So the more data that we can collect, the better we can kind of create these reports and send them out to you. So that's something that we've been working on here. So if you, the second part of the form here, if you just input your data, whether you're doing it on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis, you have your options here. You can put your bill totals for your electricity, your water, your building fuel, your fleet fuel you have, or your business and commuter travel, and submit that. And then good question, Diana. Her question, for those of you who may not see it, the Sustainable Libraries compiles or tracks the mass of all of our data and reports it out. No, not exactly. Just 1 second. I'm sorry, folks. I'm a little ill prepared at the moment, but we will get right back on track. So we put together a report like this, the energy consumption report. This is an example from, you guys can see that, right? From SCLS here, where the home of the Sustainable Libraries Initiative. So this first slide here is the electricity consumption from 2014 to 2024 here at SCLS. And you could see the dip in the consumption over that span. And I understand this is 10 years. We can still do reports with 2 years worth of time, but the goal, I guess, of these reports is to kind of show how much money is being saved. So with your help, by submitting this data, we can craft a report like this for your library. So as long as we have members that are submitting, regular data over a period of time, we can, work on something like this for you. And then you can see the kind of storytelling piece of it, which is we would provide the graphs for you, and then you would kind of fill in this part and show, for example, here at our building, what caused that decrease was changing to LED lighting, turning off the lights automatically or manually when leaving the room, reassessing the HVAC, putting in solar panels, and then there was a spike increase from 21 to 23, and you can see that's because we installed EV chargers, so the use of that. We put in the equivalents here and the impact. And here's a slide on water use. Again, this is showing, from 2020 to 2024, but, I think we could even do it over, a shorter period of time, like 2 years. And this can be used to kind of share with your stakeholders and share with, your library board and your community to kind of show the savings. You could see here, and it's converted into, today's world, the amount of water that was used and how much it would cost today. And then again, the storytelling piece. We saw a little increase, which was due to, a leak that was happening here. And now and because of that, we now have like leak detection program that we've kind of put in place. Here's a building fuel. So I guess basically I'm just kind of putting out an ask or a call to you all if you're interested in maybe getting a report like this. We are trying to help our members with something like this, especially as we get closer to the end of the year. I know people are putting together their state reports and their annual reports. So this is kind of things, storytelling device that could be used to your benefit. So we could provide you with the graphs and the slides to kind of help you share that information and help you tell that story. So just a little shameless plug from us here at the SLI, and just thought we'd mention that. So that's the emissions calculator and kind of what we can do with the results if you can continually supply us with some data. Any questions, or I open it up again. Please feel free to unmute or type something in the chat. Any questions about anything at all regarding the certification program for myself or for Kelly or whomever? If I'm rambling on, it's just because the awkward silence, but it gets me. So that's it's not because I don't want people. I'm not trying to take up the time. I want to hear from you all. So, all right. Well, hey Diana, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you both again and to be joined by so many people out there in the sustainable libraries world. I just wanted to say that, yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. It would be really nice. Um, we know that our board has been supportive of us starting this program. We're just at the beginning, and greatly appreciate also Kelly paving the way for us Canadian libraries to participate, and for SLI to be very cooperative in that matter. I know we have slightly different, isms here and there. So it's been really great to see such an accomplishment for SSRE already. I know that our board is supportive of this, and we are just getting started, but having it all laid out there in a template and with charts and graphs to be able to really easily tell the story to our board and also our staff and our communities of what the accomplishments that we're making along the way, I think would be a really great benefit from joining this program. That's a big time saver on our side from having to start a PowerPoint from scratch.
Yeah.
So whatever's required to make that work, I'd be interested in learning more about it and connecting with our facilities person. Our
Yeah.
structure is a little bit different than Surrey. I'm from Fraser Valley Regional Library. We're literally enclosed Surrey. We sort of hug around Surrey. We're all the area outside of Surrey. And we actually serve 15 separate municipalities. So hearing from Kelly, that it was trouble to get the data from the municipality is sort of a flag for me that I know that we are probably focusing just on our administrative center, which is the only building that we actually own. We are sort of contracted to do service in municipal library buildings for all of the physical libraries where we serve the public, but our main location is a building we do own and do have access to, like the bills we pay for hydro, for gas, for whatever else we pay for. So I'm hoping that process that was so difficult for you, Kelly, will be a little easier for us. And so it's also good to hear that you said the rest of it was kind of easy to implement once you got past that first part. So I'm looking forward to the energy part, and I think it's going to be really enlightening to have that data, because we learn so much just from observing and discovering what it is we're doing and the status that we're starting from. I think that is one of the main benefits of having the certification program, is it walks you through a path of all this information that you can then learn from and start from. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely, Diana. That was such a great point that you made there. Many great points that you make there, and I appreciate you saying all that. And absolutely, I'd be happy to follow up with you after, and kind of, if it's something you're interested in, we can definitely, make that work. And we do have the template already. We've been kind of working with a few other libraries who have been kind of steadily putting in data. So we definitely would be happy to work with you to get that done. Absolutely.
And what have you been hearing from the folks who are participating in helping you create this?
As far as, well, we're still in the very beginning stages of putting the reports together. We've shared our own energy consumption report with our people, with our board, and things like that, and being able to see the savings is definitely made a really great impact for us. But we haven't. It's been a slow start. That's why I kind of thought it would be a good place to bring this up, since we're talking energy, to kind of put a call out there to you all, to try to get some more people to participate in the data submission piece of it, so we can kind of see where it goes. So it's still very much in the beginning stages. We have a good handful of libraries who have been submitting, but I don't think right now we have maybe enough data from them to show enough tangible results, I guess you could say. So that's kind of why I figured I'd bring it up now.
Well, I don't think our board is doing this because they wanted to save money, but seeing that sort of direct connection of reducing emissions also naturally reduces the cost of the gas or whatever that we're burning to make those emissions. And selling sustainability can be a challenge sometimes because reducing emissions has such a slow, long tail before you see the impacts on your health and on the climate crisis. And when things are happening in your life that are so immediate and in your face, it can be easy to just put those aside and say we'll come back to it later. But when you start talking about the benefits of the dollars and cents, I think that is going to raise a lot of eyebrows and catch people's attention and help with does it help with the momentum? Do you find of other library systems moving forward with other sections in the program? Is energy perhaps a good place for us to start once we get through the first section?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I think everybody, I don't want to say definitively yes. I think everybody has maybe different strengths and weaknesses as far as when taking that bird's eye view look at the action item form and seeing, depending on the type of library, the size of the library, what maybe is like a good place to begin. As we mentioned, the energy section, the emissions portion of it can definitely, take some time and be a challenge or a hurdle. But then the rest of it is, although there's a lot of the action items there, they're a little bit lighter, a lighter lift than some of the other sections. So I don't know if I don't know if I would say that it maybe is the best. I think it just depends on the member library. But back to what you were saying about the dollars and cents of it all, I think that is just to reference the triple bottom line behind me there, the financial, environmental, and social piece of it. I think that's the cool thing about the SLI and the certification program is that some people, resonate more with the environmental piece, or, some library boards or some community members might resonate more with the financial piece, and others the social piece. So it's great, that the program kind of addresses all three, in working towards, a sustainable future. So, it's cool that, there's it affects everybody, and you can kind of different ways to get people involved, whether they might not be so on the green side, but when it comes to the green in their pocket or their bank account, that's where it matters. So it's good to be able to point that out to them and make that connection. So it's all very relevant, right?
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. If anybody else has any questions or would like to share, please feel free. Well, I think we did discuss some good things today. I want to thank Kelly for joining us and for sharing about Surrey Libraries. And again, congratulations on finishing up and becoming certified sustainable. We're looking forward to seeing what's next. Uh, sorry. Yeah, Diana poses a good question there. If anybody else that's present today has started the energy section, if you're willing to share what kind of experience you've had, we'd love to hear it. All right. Well, there's always next time. So, again, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Diana, for your participation. We really appreciate it, and we will catch you all next month, October 2nd. Oh no. October 9th, I'm sorry, October 9th, 1 p.m. Eastern, for the next SLCP meetup. So have a good afternoon, everyone. Kelly, thank you again, and I'm sure we will be chatting soon. Take care, everybody.